what Nina is suggesting here does sound absolutely essential. This is about two things, really. It's about making sure that people who have carers for complex needs are allowed to take those carers into hospital so that their complex care needs, which is often very specialised, is looked after. And it should also cover the fact that if people have paid carers, they are enabled and encouraged to go to hospital when their patient is admitted, rather than have their care stopped at that point and then having to restart it when they're discharged. So this obviously has massive advantages for the patient, because the patient is understood when they're on the hospital, and their care needs are fully understood, because they are often different to other patients. And on top of that, it actually helps the hospital, because the patient is more likely to be discharged much quicker, because the carer is intimately involved in their hospital care as well. So it's really a win-win all round. It also involves CHC funding not stopping when patients are admitted to hospital, and that actually helps the patient and again the hospital, because it smooths the continuity of care between the community and the hospital. And what we're trying to do in the NHS in the Labour Party is to make sure that people are looked after in the community more than they are in the hospital. And this Nina's law would ensure that that happens to people with really complex needs. So I strongly support what you're proposing.
Hi, I'm Janet Shreve from Shreevecare Services. I've been asked by Nina very kindly to come on her podcast to talk about the challenges that she faces with getting Nina's law up and running and throughout the country. What I would like to do is to read an email that Nina has received from Richard Luke, who is actually highlighting a lot of the problems that we're talking about on this podcast. So this is Richard's email. This isn't me talking, but I'm reading it out for him. It says, "Hi Nina, it was great speaking with you earlier. I live with quadriplegic cerebral palsy and I'm a full-time wheelchair user. My experience of a hospital stay was not good at all. The staff assumed I lacked capacity. In most interactions, they talked over me. Getting assistance to the bathroom was a nightmare, but being left on the toilet was even worse. My wife and I had to battle to get to the hospital to allow my wife to stay with me. Without my wife being there, I would have struggled to drink, eat, and use the bathroom in a safe and dignified manner. Nina's law is vitally important to the disabled community, and we want to be treated like human beings and reduce the workload for NHS staff at the same time." And I would like to add into that I have done several podcasts with a gentleman called David Price talking about his wife who's had a brain aneurysm. A similar thing happened to her, in that she has very little use of her left hand, and she had been having tests all day. She was left in the hospital room with a sandwich, and when her husband returned the following day, the sandwich was untouched because she couldn't open it. So she'd just been left with no food that day because nobody came along and opened the sandwich in order for her to have anything to eat. So that's another example that adds into this. And David, fortunately, was able to go in and help her, but ultimately he does have a family, and on the back of everything, he lost his job because of it. So it's a tough world out there.
Okay. Do they not get? Oh, do you not? Oh, I suppose social.
It's highly unlikely you'd get both. I mean, to be honest, to get CHC funding is like a battle royal anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got clients at the moment. I mean, I had to battle. I've done a podcast with a guy called David Price. I've done 3 or 4. The battle we went to get through that for his wife, who's got a brain aneurysm, is huge. And even then, they haven't allocated full care. They've given him 29 hours a week. He's lost his job.
God.
I mean, people don't realise how awful this whole sector is.
Yeah, we're going to be transitioning into adult services, and I just hear terror stories. But
that's
in the
when
children,
your problems start.
Well, I don't know. We've had quite a lot of problems, but
they get worse. Put it that way, because of the adult sector. I mean, it's like the minute someone's 18, they go into the adult side, and then you've got to get on with it and see where it goes. It really is quite a worry.
Yeah, because at the moment we have a mixture of CHC funding and social care funding, and that's because they'll go, oh, but it's social care, and then CHC go, oh, do requires a registered nurse, but then social care would provide a registered nurse. So we have a mix. We have two pots of money to make up the care package in children land.
No, in adults it would go into
It's just
a
one
person. Yeah, and it's CHC, and you wouldn't get the social care as well.
That's right. I get literally CHC, and that's it.
I mean, you might be lucky and get a PIP, but it's highly unlikely.
From Parliament point of view, I should imagine. Well, we know that saving the NHS money is like it's the money side, isn't it? So you've got to. This is going to save them money, so they need to say, this is going to save money, but also improve patient experience, improve patient outcome, and then the byproduct of that is all is going to improve the care for disabled people and children in hospital and their families.
Of course,
because it is stressful. I'm not disabled myself. I can only speak for being a parent carer to a disabled child. And it's having to advocate and care for them in hospital is exhausting, and having that support, and also knowing that because you're expected to stay in hospital when you've got a disabled child, when on the children's unit, you're expected as a parent to stay there, and they don't give you any food or anything, but you're expected 24/7. Yeah, you're expected to stay there 24/7, and care for your child. And when you're in hospital, and you've got a complex needs child, you kind of live in hospital because you're in there so often. So do
you get given a bed?
Yeah, it's geared up. The children's unit is geared up for that. Some children units have a recliner bed, have a chair that goes into a recliner, and some of them are improving their situations for parents to stay. But when you're in hospital all the time, one of you have to give up your work to be able to care for your child at home and also in hospital. But the other parent has to work to bring money in to the household. And when
you've got other children as well.
And you've also got other children as well. But it's mainly you with the other parent, they can't take time off work all the time because they'll lose their job. You can take,
of course, yeah.
You can take off. There's parental leave that you can take, but that's unpaid. But it's only a certain amount that they're gonna, you can take off constantly. So you are like a single parent in a hospital setting, and what's the other one is working and picking the children up because the hospitals aren't close by for quite a few families that go to hospital, and also adults, I guess. But so you're having to juggle everything, and then you have to stay there. And even if you just go and get a sandwich from the shop, because you obviously need to eat, you ask somebody because they require a one-to-one. So Poppy requires a one-to-one, and on many occasions I've gone, oh, can somebody just sit with Poppy whilst I go and get a sandwich and get something to eat because I'm hungry and I've been here for a few days. And you go off and come back and your child has been sick, there is no nurse around, and nobody has sorted out their airway or maintained their airway. So and you can only go, you haven't been away for very long, you've just gone to the shop to go and get some food to come back, which is located in the hospital. So we're talking 10-15 minutes, but in that time the nurse has left your child who requires a one-to-one. And it's not been the first time. There's been lots of times that's happened. And so having a carer that comes into the hospital to provide that one-to-one nursing care.
Does she have one carer or two?
One carer.
Okay.
But it varies, I think, on different agencies and different places with children, because they're and also what their needs are as well. So if Poppy's, when she's hoisted, she's not at risk of hurting herself or getting her limbs trapped, because she doesn't have any spontaneous movements or uncontrolled movements. So I know that with other children who have more sort of muscle spasms or learning disabilities associated to moving arms and legs, they have two carers. But Poppy just requires a one-to-one registered nurse to maintain her airway.
Oh. Yeah, but that's just so important, and Nina's what happens. Because she needs her carers when she goes to hospital.
Yeah, and I really worry about going to adult services, because she's 15 now, so we're transitioning to adult services, or starting to. And as soon as they hit 18, she's gone from a children's ward to an adult ward. And then you aren't expected to stay. And I know, I'm an adult nurse myself, I know there isn't the staffing levels to provide a one-to-one registered nurse.
Yeah.
And she requires a one-to-one because she can block off her airway and requires nasopharyngeal suctioning and chest physiotherapy to get rid of any mucus blockages.
Yeah, and she needs her nurse to be with her.
And she needs her nurse to be with her.
Leaves.
Yeah, because she's non-verbal as well. She's not able to say what is up with her. But when you get to know Poppy, you can tell something's not right. And just the subtle signs that require prompt.
Of course, and they would know it.